If you were born in Nigeria or in an African country and live in a rural area, you might not have noticed that there were some things that others born abroad would have considered missing. When I came first to Nsukka in Igbo land in Nigeria, I was 23, I was young, and all I thought was, well, I was just busy. I was busy preparing my lessons. My first year in teaching in university, I was busy reading, I was busy adjusting to everything that was different, the food, the climate, the cooking, everything, including adjusting to an environment that was very sparse because after the war, the university was half destroyed. Things were really difficult. And I never thought about so many other things. But one day, a French girl of my age came to join the department in this French section. She had met a Nigerian during the war, I guess, in France, and the guy, like many, was probably considering her as just a friend abroad until you come back because he never imagined marrying her. And so he left after the war, returned to Nigeria like the others, and she was left disappointed. She really wanted to marry him, I guess, or at least living with him. And so she applied to the department and got a job, but she was there just like for 1 year or two, and her hope was to find where he was because he never gave her the address. And so we just made friends. The team there was really sympathetic. It was really nice, really a good team. So one day we were just chatting, and then she learned that I was engaged, that we were going to marry with the person that is now my husband. 50 years of marriage. So at that time we just engaged, and I told her, yeah, I came from France, and that's it. And she said, don't you miss concerts, music, classical music, going to the cinema, theater, leisure? Here there's nothing. It's like a desert. And I never thought about it. In fact, I never gave that a thought until she asked me. And it was like in a flash. I saw my life in France before I left. The concerts I used to attend with my grandparents. The going to ski with my brothers and the parish. Going to occasionally to the theater with my father, and conferences that I attended from people that had gone abroad and come back and were describing what they saw, explorers, books that I read, listening to radio, all this that had completely gone out of my radar. At Nsukka there was virtually no light, so obviously listening to radio or TV, that was not regular. There was no cinema. Occasionally, some years later, the German section of my department started bringing video cassettes from their embassy in Lagos, and organized cinema occasions, and we sat in a classroom and watched and chatted with some refreshment. That was a grand occasion. But the rest of the time, that was it. Maybe there were things organized in Enugu, the regional capital, but that was not something I could do. I had no transport and I never thought about it anyway. I was too busy preparing my lessons, adjusting, meeting my fiancée at weekend. So, yeah, I had none of this that she was talking about. And I thought about it. I forgot what I said actually, but one thing I tried to explain to her at the time was, well, I've chosen, I've made my choice. I knew it would be something like that. I discovered the depth of it when I came newly, but I'm prepared. For me, this is secondary. I have a goal, and that goal is not having my pleasure. And I'm ready for it. I'm ready to stay in Nigeria. I never plan to go out. I'm planning to leave everything else and live there until death. I never thought at the time that I would ever go out of that country. I loved my life there. I was happy. I was fulfilled. I was satisfied with the choice I'd made, no matter what. She found it very, very strange. And I think that she couldn't cope. Probably she never found a boy and eventually left back to France. And that was it. Just one of these people that came and went. But you know, we all have choices to make. When you grow up, you have all kinds of skills, you have a lot of potential, but somehow you have to choose what studies you are going to make or what job you are going to choose, what area you want to live in. If you marry, then if you get kids, it will be more choices, because a family with 2 or more children finds itself like a tortoise with a shell that cannot run again. You cannot just travel anytime you want. There will be schools, you have to wait for holidays. You may not have the money to travel with your children as if you were single, and so many other choices. But I want to say, I never regretted. I never knew at the time, in 73, that I would ever leave Nigeria and come back to Europe. I didn't choose it, it just happened. And I still remember the lovely life I had in Nigeria. No regrets, no regrets. So, my friends, make sure you live well. Prioritize so that at the end you will have no regrets.